Hello and welcome back. In this section, we are going to be working on associative array. In our last session, I introduced what we actually do. I introduced to you the array, and we worked actually on some of the things we can do with array. Now, right here, we're going to be working on associative array. Now, associative array is this kind of array can be called by the names or the labels. Now, in the normal basic array, we call the values we have in the array with the index values, all right, with the index of each of the values that we have on that. Each of the values that we have passed into the array. But with this associative array, we call them by their names or their labels. So with each of the values we have in the associative array is going to have what we call a name, or we call them a label, or we can also call them a key. Now let's move on to the practical aspect of this. Now let's go down to the Visual Studio Code, and let's open a new file. We call it array underscore, let's give this an underscore assoc, okay, .php. I don't want to complete that. Alright, so we're just gonna have this here. Okay, don't forget to put this here. Alright, so I'm gonna have my PHP syntax here. Okay, so I'm going to declare a variable. I have numbers, just passing some numbers there, so just 20, 14, 24, then 50. Okay, I'm going to be showing you first of all the basic array. Alright, so I have echo numbers, now put in the square brackets, and we have 0 right there. I'm just gonna put a period dot, then put in the break, so in case we're declaring another array. Now let's go to our browser and have array underscore assoc.php. Okay, so we have the value right here as 20 because we have passed into this variable. We have the index value 0 passed in here, so it's giving us the value that is in the array. That's the value 20 that's in the array, and obviously the value 20 has the index value of 0. Now now I'm going to be creating the associative array so we can see the difference between the both of them. Alright, so I'm just going to have names. Okay, so we have the square brackets. Now I'm going to create, just going to have here, put a quote. I have first underscore name. Now I'm going to put down an equal symbol, then with a greater than symbol, and I have David as the name. Put a semicolon at the end. Alright, now we have this right here. Now the difference between this associative array and the normal array is that this normal array has what we call an index value, but the associative array, we have the name, we have a name or the label pass into that particular array. But what we call this is a key. Now this is the key, and this is the value of the key. Now instead of using the index value to reach out to David that we have here, we are going to use the key. It's the key that determines what is the value that is passed into it. Now for the normal array, for you to get the value, we're going to use the index of that value to get this particular value that we have here, 20. Now the bottom line of this all is that, you know, when creating, maybe you want 1,000 names. Okay, maybe you have 1,000 names. For instance, let's just put down here, remove all these numbers, let's put some names there. So I have Peter, I have Moses, oh, not Mrs. Moses, and I have Cynthia. Oh, did I get a spelling? Cynthia. Oh, I didn't get it. All right, let's just give it another name. We have Princess. All right, now we have these names passed in here. Now obviously we have the index values representing each one of the names that we have here. So if I reload this, it's going to give me Peter. Now if we have 1,000 names passed into this particular array, how do we actually know the exact name, the index value for the exact name? How do we get the exact index value for the name that we actually want to get? Now that's where the problem is. Now the associative array helps us to solve that problem, because we don't need to actually use the index value to reach out to that particular name. We don't need the index value. What we need is the key, okay? Because every value is going to be having a key assigned to it. So with the value David is going to be having the key first name already assigned on that name. So even though we have 1,000 names in this associative array, it's not going to be a problem, because the names that we have there has a key. So we are going to use the key to access the names that we have right there. Now I'm going to show you what we mean by this. I'm going to use the print out function, and I have names. Let's create a variable for that. Take away that. All right, so I have array first name, and this is supposed to be where the index value is, but using the associative array is gonna have the key. That's the name, okay? The name of the value. First name is the name of the value. So the value here is David. So if we do the same to this, let's try and do the same to this. I'm going to comment on this and use a print out for that. Okay, so we just put numbers there. Oh, sorry for that. I just need to explain this. All right. Put a semicolon there. All right. Now I have the index value. Okay, please let's put a break. So I have echo, so we can get the field out of this. So I have, all right, now I have the array. The first one, index value for Peter is 0. The index value for Moses is 1. Index value for Princess is 2. If you have over 1,000 names, okay, obviously this is not going to show you, it's not going to be reflecting on the your editor. It's not going to be showing on your code editor. Okay, and the problem here is how to get the exact index value for the name. If you want to get maybe the index value for the name, for the value is 701, how do you do that? And you're trying to get the name. Okay, so that is a lot of process you're going to be trying to undergo. Now this associative array actually solve that problem, because even though you're creating 1,000 names, you will have each one of them assigned a key. All right, there will be a name to every of those values. So it's through the key you are going to get the name of that. You're going to get the name right there. It's through the key you're going to get the name that we have right in there. So if we have this, let's comment on this. Okay, no need to comment on that. So let's just put first name here. Let's put first underscore name. Okay, so it gives us the value David. All right, because we are using the key to access the name of that particular to access the value David. Okay, so we can also add another element. We can also have another value there. So last name is what I'm gonna have in there. So last name. So I have Boyd. Okay, so for we to get this, we're gonna have to put a dot here and put in this. We have put in a quote, last name, then that gives us oh my god, that didn't work. Okay, all right, so we have this right here. So we have sorry about that, I forgot to put this names. Okay, important, that's what's giving us that error. Okay, so we have David Boyd. Okay, let's try and put this quotes, a space right there. All right, we're using the concatenate. All right, I hope you remember that, concatenating the two arrays. All right, so we have David Boyd. Now that is what that's all about the associative, introductory aspect of the associative array, and we are going to be seeing much more of what we can actually achieve using this particular associative array. Very, very easy to understand. Instead of using the index values to access the names, instead of using the index to access the values, we use the key. All right, we use the key to access the values that we have there. All right, I believe you have a good understanding about the associative array. So we can have a lot more values, key and value pair passed in here. You can have 1,000, you can have hundreds. You know, bottom line is that you can always access every one of the values using the key, and it's very, very easy, unlike just passing names into that array, which you have to always crack your head to get the index values for those names. All right, so that's just it about the associative array. All right, thank you for your time, and bye for now.